Again, dips to Johnson, and Pete gets down close. Looks like he's about a half yard short. Ball inside the 1. Johnson again. Yep. This time he is hit by Jack Reynolds and knocked backwards, if you can believe that. 11th play in this drive coming up. Anderson will look and throw. Alexander does not get in. They give the shot there, I don't know. The 49ers don't think he made it. Who's on the bottom of that pile? Jack Reynolds again, number 64. That's a team effort for San Francisco's defense.
Craig Patterson's way to the goal line. He goes in for a 49er touchdown. And the 49ers are leaving the Miami Dolphins far to the rear now.
Weiss has just set a Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana, touchdown, John Taylor.
This is complete domination. The 49er offense has beaten the Denver Bronco defense every way.
From the 44, they fake it to Floyd. Young to the air, Young to Jerry Rice. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Well, that's quite a statement their defense made. To handle the middle of the football field, and Frank, I have dumbfounded as to what they're doing.
Good move to the outside on Carrington.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? I know y'all can't really see me. It's really dark here. Look, I'm trying my best. We're in a makeshift location. Your boy is on assignment. Apparently, I just looked right now. There's an update. Walter Nolan is scheduled to meet with the Niners. How old is that? 33 minutes ago. So, got some breaking news for y'all right as we kick off the show. So, Jason and I are going to go ahead and we're going to get y'all some running backs Niners should target in the draft. So we're going to go ahead and get that cracking. Ladies and gentlemen, favor of all ages, let's get the show cracking.
Rice has just set a Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana, touchdown, John Taylor.
You're tuned in to Niner Faithful Radio, a show hosted for the faithful, by the faithful.
What's cracking, Jason?
Hello for faithful. How's everybody doing, brother?
You know, another day, another penny. Yeah, I purposely didn't say $1 because I knew you'd be like, "Oh, you got a raise." So I did that on purpose, y'all. So your boy's a dumbass. I thought I'd be away from our secret location that I am currently streaming from. I thought I'd be gone. Some situations happened, and I'm still here. I'll be leaving tomorrow, probably tomorrow afternoon. Before.
You're so dark. You're like the DC universe.
I know. We do this together, and the person whose room I'm streaming in, they're like, I don't want them to see all my room. And I'm like, dude, just put me by a wall. They can stare at the wall. Like, wow. Anyway, nobody gives a shit about your room. But she was like, I don't want them seeing my room. That's weird. So, okay, fine. You know.
Let's be honest. Like you said, ain't nobody going to care.
Yeah. Ain't nobody going to care. So, we're here. So I was just watching that thing that you posted about Jed, speaking about Brock's contract and that causing the exodus of players.
With Mark Sheriff?
Yeah.
I think, honestly, he said it more articulately than I can ever been saying it all off season. It's the same message we've been trying to get across. Just relax. There's a method to all of this.
Yeah, and I think, look, I think it's, and you know me, you've been more relaxed than I have. Been a little bit more, I don't want to say confused. On edge. Yeah, a little bit more on edge and a little bit more of, I guess, just a shock because, like, well, it's, there's some like when I've sat down and really thought about the and I've said to myself, okay, like we talked about Taylor Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about some of these players. Like, look, you can't have the special. We all bitched and moaned and whined and cried about the special teams last year and how it was costing us games. Look, I'll forever go down in history and say that the two losses to the Seahawks in 21 that were both special teams plays cost us the division and probably cost us that NFC Championship game against the Yams. Slightly. Like, I still like to not fully say that just because it's like, dude, how many times in a row did we beat them in Levi South? Let's be real, that was basically a Niners home game. Minus the fourth quarter when they started pumping in crowd noise. so I don't really like to use that as an excuse. But it definitely cost us the division and possible 1 seed and the bye week. And I think that's when what we should get upset about. I don't think whether we played them here or in LA, we should have beat the Yams regardless. I think what happened is this team ran out of gas. And that was what the 2 losses to Seattle ended up hurting us, is this team ran out of gas. My concern is that Chapman had posted a thing on Instagram yesterday, and it was like this dude sweating and everything like that. It was like the Niners personnel department or scouting department when they got to find 6 to 8 starters in the draft.
Oh yeah, I seen that one.
Yeah, and some people got booty tickled about it, but John, as he often does, eloquently broke down his what he meant, right? Like, what do I say all the time, Jason? Don't give a shit what your opinion is. Just be able to articulate it and back it up,
Yeah.
And yeah, I fully agree with him. And so that's my thing, is that my hope. So I've had people ask me, T, do you think this is a Super Bowl season? And I said, look, you get the Niners playing our best football towards the end of the year, which generally under Kyle we do. We play our best football in December, generally under Kyle Shanahan. You have us take advantage of a very weak schedule and get us home field advantage with the still 9 all-pro players that we have on this roster. This roster still has Nick Bosa. This roster still has Trent Williams. This roster still has like all those players that were what was it? Like it was 6 in the top 15 of the NFL top 100.
All those still together.
Yeah, all those players are still on this roster, Jason. And so if you could say that we can get the 1 seed possibly in the NFC, or even the 2 seed, and all we need is an upset, and we become the basically if the path to the Super Bowl comes through the field of genes, I like the Niners' chances basically this year.
Yeah, like you said, there's still tons of talent. It's not like did we lose talent? Yes. But honestly, but like to me, the only 2 pieces that we lost that were actual losses per se that we can't get, not necessarily instantly better or replace this upcoming draft. Dre Greenlaw, I think that's obvious. Drake, that's going to be hard to replace just in any draft ever. And Charvarius Ward.
Yeah.
Other than that, we can easily upgrade. As much as I love Huff, there's upgrades in this draft over Huff. And who knows, Jair could come back to where he was his rookie year, and bam, he's at least, semi-equal to what Huff was.
Look, the Niners told you
replaceable.
Jason, we said this. We said this during the draft show when we drafted Jair Brown. The Niners told you what they thought about Huff.
Yeah.
What do we say all the time, Jason? Fuck what they say. Fuck what we say. Look at what they do, right? That's one of my mantras on the show. They told you how they felt.
What up, Papa J? How you doing, brother?
What up, Papa J? Good to see you, brother. The Niners told you how they felt about Huff when they drafted Jair Brown, right?
And then Malik.
And you know what? They honestly probably told you what they thought. What they thought about Jair Brown when they drafted Malik. Let's be real. So I'm just keeping 100, Jason.
No, I mean you're right.
I don't, especially when you've seen. Y'all are gonna have to excuse me, but from what I understand, the straw that broke the camel's back and essentially kind of made it the Super Bowl be like, okay, this ain't the Chiefs' day, was the Cooper DeJean pick 6. From what I've heard, that's basically like, all right, ball game, put a fork in them, they're done. Was that pick 6? By who? A rookie. A rookie secondary player. And so
but we drafted for about 2.2 seconds. Remember when that all came out?
Oh yeah. I remember.
They believed that we were gonna draft him, and then they said, "Nope, here's Ricky Pearsall."
Yep. Nope. Here's Ricky Pearsall. So I say let the playoffs or the NFC Championship game be at the Field of Genes, and I like the Niners' chances and being in a stadium that we've never literally lost a playoff game in. Literally in the stadium's history, never lost a playoff game in Levi Stadium. So I'll take my chances. Now, getting to this running backs, Jason, go ahead and pull up your running backs and talk about them, because I don't know why we're doing this show. We know we're going to draft a running back. He's not going to be shit. We're going to sign an undrafted player, and he's going to be better. So,
I mean, that's pretty much exactly how this is going to go. Why is this so timed? Oh, no, don't time it. I don't understand why these are timed.
I don't know.
All right, so all right. So the first one I got on my list is Bashal Tutin, running back out of Virginia Tech. This guy just is a monster when it comes to. You can almost consider him kind of like how Jordan Mason was. The way he runs, he loves contact. He's going to run over people. He has really good patience with letting the blocks get set up on the inside. He's actually got pretty good hands. So, the issue with Jordan Mason always was that, can he catch? He's got better hands than Jordan Mason does. But like I said, he's a really tough runner between the tackles. He'll lower your shoulder. He'll lower his shoulder. He will fight for those 2 or 3 extra yards. Some of the issues that he has is that, again, kind of like with the Jordan Mason thing, I keep going back to him because there are quite similarities between these guys. His pass protection is not the is not the best. He does have some ball security issues. And then he had a late season ankle injury that, clearly slowed him down, if you will. And then despite the fact that he does have speed, he doesn't really have great lateral agility for any of that kind of stuff. Like so he's a one cut and go kind of a guy, but you're not going to get like the dancing in the hole that you'd get out of someone like a CMC.
And excluding CMC, because CMC does things that only CMC can do.
Yeah.
CMC's not. Which, by the way, congratulations, CMC getting his number retired at his high school. That's dope. Like, I think that's newsworthy and should be,
that's pretty cool.
Recognized on the show.
I mean, my number's not retired in Japan.
Yeah.
I am on the wall, though. I am on the wall.
No, I have nothing at Andrew Hill. Like, I doubt they even know. Like, nobody even knows I played for Andrew Hill right now. Like,
there's 2 spots on the walls for me. There's one, it's called the Pig Iron Club, where you have to be able to squat 300, bench 220, and power clean 250. And then you got on this thing called the Pig Iron Club. I was the first ever freshman to get on that club. And then I'm on the wall as the only freshman to ever get, I guess you can call it like the All-State over there. So that's my claim to fame right there. It ends in Japan.
Yeah, no, I have actually absolutely zero athletic feats in my life. But I started a podcast, so that's all good. Anyway, so yeah, no, I'm looking at his PFF draft guide thing right here, and you hit it on the nose, Jason. Inconsistency and awareness of pressure and pass protection. Ball security is a concern. 9 fumbles over the last 2 seasons. Kyle ain't gonna like that.
But I love the way he runs, man.
Between the tackles, too eager to bounce runs outside. Which we're not tripping about him bouncing runs outside, because in an outside scheme zone, that's literally what you're supposed to do. So let's be real. If the Niners draft him, and I'm not blaming you and saying he's a bad, player to target or anything, but the Niners draft him, let's be real, he's going to have ball security concerns and he's going to get buried on the depth chart.
Yeah, I mean, he's also a running back, which that's what happens no matter how good of a running back you are coming out.
That's what's going to happen. Kyle's going to get tunnel vision with CMC.
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
He's going to run CMC into the ground, CM's going to see he's going to have like 1 million touches by week 12,
Shit, week
4. Week 4, right? Depending on what the schedule is. Let there be a Seahawks game. A
he's 96% of the offense or something like that.
Yeah, let there be a Yams game. Obviously, Kyle's going to want to, show up McVay. Look, I have a feeling we're going to come out and we're going to blow the Yams out of the water this year, bro. I know it irks Kyle that we got swept by the Yams last year, especially knowing, let's be real. The first game, the one in LA, that was a calamity of errors, right? I felt that we blew it. Like Ronnie Bell catch the ball, right? Brock don't miss a wide open BA who could have literally, you and I could have walked into the end zone.
Yeah,
Jason,
my fat ass could outran anybody to get in there.
Yeah, okay, that was a calamity of errors, and the game at Levi's, let's be real, the defense played well enough to win, but the offense couldn't do shit. That's basically and I bet you that's the one that irks Kyle the most, because he knows defensively we played well enough to win. I think Kyle was embarrassed by that game, because there's no way the Niners should ever lose a game where the defense gives up 12 points. I'm sorry.
Especially to someone you consider a friend. As much as you want your friends to be good and everything, but inside your little circle of friends, you want to be the man. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of pride right there. You may have a circle of like 5 or 6 friends who are really, really good friends. We all know who the alpha is in that group. You know what I mean? It's like, so that Kyle got taken down a peg last season when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. Like, it's Shanahan's own McVay. Shanahan, all the coaches of the Shanahan coaching tree, he owns all of them.
Yeah.
The only thing the thing that's always, and fine, the thing that's always going to irk Kyle is McVay has the ring.
Yep.
And specifically, he has a ring that came at the expense of Kyle. Yep. It wasn't like I run this ring the year y'all weren't even in the playoffs. I won this ring after beating you. Yeah. After beating you in a game that you were up 10 points in the fourth quarter. And your stadium and our stadium was like 90% your fans. So anyway, so I don't know why we're doing this running back situation, but we are going to draft a running back. It
is a pretty good running back class. It's like, after the defensive tackles, it's the best class in this draft.
And you know what, Jason? Let's be real. We're all fairly optimistic and everything like that, but I want to be careful how I say this, because I know I'm going to get heat for this.
CMC ain't going to be here forever.
We all assume CMC is going to walk on that field healthy and 1,000%.
Yeah.
And look, we're all optimistic, of course. Like, I'm not even going to go.
What up, Ferry?
What up, Ferry? I'm not like, what are the Niners supposed to say? Yeah, CMC's done after we just gave him a contract that, let's be real, wasn't necessary, and most people probably wouldn't have gave him. Yeah. Like, what are the Niners supposed to say? But bilateral Achilles tendonitis, Jason. Like,
not unilateral, bilateral.
Bilateral Achilles tendonitis and a partially torn patella tendon.
And who knows? I mean, the man, he's got wear and tear.
Yeah, he does, dude.
He is a robot, but guess what? Even the Terminator wore down eventually, right?
Yeah.
We've seen those memes and the pictures with him with the half Terminator face on. But guess what? You know what? The Terminator wore down too at times.
Yeah, and look, nobody's gonna love it. What up, Jared? What up, Terradome? Good to see you, brother.
Terradome, what up, brother? How you doing, bro?
Terradome, tell me I'm tripping. Okay, tell me I'm not. Tell me if I'm tripping, bro. Tell me. I know you're a reasonable man. Can we just y'all like tell me I'm not tripping, brother? We can't just. We just are not slightly foolish to just assume that CMC is going to be 2023 CMC week 1 snap 1. You know,
and then last 20 some odd weeks.
And the last Kyle's 15 million fucking touches he's going to give him by week 9. Yep. You know, like I know I'm not tripping, bro. I know I'm not tripping. So as frustrated as we all are after these third round running backs that don't ever equate to anything, whether it be Kyle refusing to play them or simply they're just not good enough, you know, it's coming.
Going to the next one.
Yeah, just 1 second, bro. It's coming. CMC's Achilles heel is his Achilles heel. Yeah, I mean,
that's what it is.
So anyway, yes, be prepared because we're taking a running back, and especially after trading JP Mason, I think it's needed. Sure, I'm not saying go spend pick 43 on a running back. Was that redundant? I mean, it made perfect sense to me, bro. His Achilles heel is his Achilles heel. I mean,
no, I mean you're making perfectly good point on that, Papa J.
Yeah, like very, very valid concern. Cool, awesome. Terradome made me feel a lot better about, you know, and look, I'm not hating. I want to make this 1,000% clear. I want nothing more than to be chanting and screaming MVP at the top of my lungs as CMC scores his 5th touchdown week 1. You know, when we're opening up against the Seahawks at home. You know, I would love nothing more than that, y'all. But you know me, I have to be reasonable. All right, go ahead, Jason. I know you're itching to get to.
No, I'm trying to figure out why it's going this because it's being stupid. So, anyways, let's go with this. The second guy I got my list, and you know me, you know I like my Iowa players, so I'm gonna go with Caleb Johnson. One of to me, there's nothing fancy about Iowa football. It's we're gonna line it up, and guess what? We're gonna run the ball right here, and right here, and right here. That's all we're gonna do. Like their offense was just 3 downs in a cloud of dirt almost. It was almost that old school. And yet he still was that damn good. He has got a great plant and go. Like his cut is amazing. He's really good, getting low and that lean forward to getting, those 2 or 3 extra yards kind of thing. Because he runs with that controlled violence kind of thing. So again, another yak guy, one of those guys that are going to be there. He's got pretty good, reliable hands for like a screen game, passing out of the backfield. And he seems to get better as the game goes along, which is one of those guys, kind of, and I've said, kind of like the Jordan Mason type, where, you know what I mean? When the game got, in the back, when everybody was getting tired, he seemed to be getting fresher and fresher. He doesn't have the greatest speed, like the greatest breakaway speed, so you're probably going to be able to catch him from behind, even though he did have like 20 some odd, 20 plus yards runs last year. But I mean, in the NFL, guys are a little bit faster, probably going to get caught. He doesn't have the greatest route tree when it comes to running out of the backfield, but then again, he hasn't been asked to do a whole lot of passing out of the backfield. Pass protection, again, that's something I think that they just didn't do at Iowa because they didn't throw much, so he never really got a whole lot of practice becoming a better pass blocker. And he can get a little narrow through the time, sometimes getting through the hole, which makes it harder for him to make those quick lateral cuts.
Well, so I'm looking at his PFF draft guide profile. For 66 forced missed tackles, tied for 6th in the nation. Yards after contact, 1,060, ranks 4th in the nation. Yards after contact, 4.42, ranked 4th in the nation.
I don't like you then, Tommy. I like Iowa.
Zone attempts, 191 yards, or 191 attempts out of a zone concept, which is primarily where we obviously the scheme we run is the zone scheme, and 0 fumbles this year. So ball security is while we're talking about running backs, and we obviously know who running back numero uno is on this football team. Love CMC. Y'all know this, okay? I love CMC. But CMC's got a little bit of an issue holding on the ball in crunch time. Let's not forget, how did that Super Bowl start, Jason? Down in the red zone, CMC's fumble. Right? Tell me that's not a completely different ball game. We're up 7-0.
You never know.
Defense, the way it was playing that first half. That's a completely different ball game. The Minnesota game. The one that Brock got the concussion towards the end of. How did that game start? CMC fumble right in the middle of the red zone. Juice. We saw Juice fumble once or twice in the red. I know for a fact it was one time. I want to say it was Buffalo. Every house in Seattle is abandoned down by the river. I'm in my mocks. I do it after running back. Yeah.
In mine, it goes anywhere between like the 4th and the 6th is when I pick up one, depending on who's there.
I mean, 5th or 7th, I'm okay with. Let me pull up our picks right now. So, 25. Okay, cool.
I don't like Papa J's guitar. I haven't seen Papa J's guitar, so I don't know what it looks like.
We have So starting in the 4th round, we got 113, 138. I'd be okay if we use 147, which is a 5th rounder. That's the it says from Washington through New Orleans. I don't know exactly what that I think that's the Debo. That's the Debo
trade.
The
Debo one.
Yeah, I think that's the Debo one. I'd be okay if you told me that we used the pick that we traded and got for trading Debo on a running back, because let's be real, Debo was a running back playing wide receiver.
I'm not against us using like 138 since it was a comp pick.
Yeah, 138, 4th rounder, 138. I'm not tripping at all. 160.
If someone like Tootin, if one of these two guys were available at 100, you could talk me into it. You really could.
3rd round.
Mm-hmm. End of the 3rd round at number 100. I think you could talk me into it.
Okay. You would have to tell me. Okay, so have we drafted a tackle? Have we? Was one of the top tier tackles available? And did did we take a tackle? Was a top tier tackle available? Well, let's be real. We're not getting a tackle worthwhile at 100. No. Have we taken a guard? Have we taken
an edge?
An edge? Have we taken a D tackle? Like, look, I understand deep draft, deep tackle draft, but you're talking about pick 100. Like, all right, bro, we need to draft a D tackle within the first 100 picks, bro. Let's be real. Like, come on, let's not get crazy here. All right, like we understand it's a deep class, but after pick 100, we got 113, which ideally would be what I want to use the running.
It's not even worth trying.
I don't even pay this. We were literally talking about this with my girl yesterday about how the chat is crazy and like it has a mind of its own. And she talked about how she was in here one time and just left because she was like, "This is psycho. This is unhealthy." So yeah, I was like, dude,
it's the side conversation.
We let the chat be the chat, bro. That's just all. And we try to pick up a few comments that we think make sense. Yeah. So if we drafted a guard, if we drafted a D tackle, if we took care of the needs of this football team, and you told me that you could get for example, a linebacker, right, at 113, and the drop off is very significant. The drop off from running back from the third round to the fifth round or fourth round is way more significant than the drop off at linebacker or corner or safety or whatever. Okay, fine, take the running back because we do need a running back. And I think that it's foolish to keep on thinking that you could just find these diamonds in the rough undrafted every year. That's just like eventually drafted players are going to hit. Eventually you're going to like. I believe in our coaching staff. I believe in the coaching staff of what's bigger, my brain or TJ's glasses. Hey, my glasses ain't that big.
See, it's just like, where did that come from?
Yeah, that where did that come from?
How you doing, brother?
Yeah, Derwin, that's what everybody keeps on telling me. Everybody keeps on telling me running back, D tackle, and tight end. This is a great class for all three of those positions. So I'm not opposed to a running back per se. We're not going to keep the show much longer because your boy.
What would you say if they went wide receiver at that pick? Like, there's a lot of people that want us to draft. I don't see wide receiver as a big need compared to some other people.
But you're a lot more optimistic on Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing than a lot more people. That's why.
And I've been very high on Juwan Jennings. I
think it's very clear. You and I were the builders of the Juwan Jennings hype train, bro. You might have been the conductor, but I was right there riding shotgun with you, bro. Shaking my dreads out the window. We're the conductor and the builders of the Juwan Jennings hype train. I think it's very clear now, which, by the way, love seeing his I forget where I saw it. It might have been something you posted. It might have been another account that posted it. But there's videos of Juwan grinding. Apparently, the Niners are trying to work on getting a long-term extension done with Juwan. The fuck we didn't do that last year for?
Because we always fucking wait on everything. Every fucking
don't understand.
We always wait.
Especially after the wide receiver. Like, I understand why, because of BA, obviously. This is the fastest running back class in draft history. You'd think they'd be a ton of small guys, but they're not.
Yeah.
We know Kyle's obsession, bro. We know Kyle's obsession with basically getting him a Marquise Goodwin, Danny Gray. He's obsessed with getting himself a burner receiver.
Man, they are getting on you about your glasses. I'm glad you put my glasses on today.
Yeah, I don't know why all of a sudden my glasses.
I know. You've been wearing the glasses every week for how long?
And all of a sudden they're just Papa. Those are grandpa glasses to me.
See, it's the same glasses you've been wearing forever, but for some reason this week,
on the
glasses.
Someday today, Bobby was just like, "We're gonna roast this nigga's glasses." What's up, Crazy Juice? The whole gang's here now. You know what? Fuck it. Y'all didn't distract me. No, now they're gonna make fun of my Chinese eyes because fucking, my eyes squint without my glasses.
They bullied you off stream and shit.
Yeah, right. They bullied me off. I'm gonna turn my camera off. So yeah, no, I wouldn't be. I mean, when Chapman had said we since Kyle's been here, we have spent more both salary capital and draft capital on the wide receiver position more than any team by far. And I stepped back and I said, what has that really gotten us? That's gotten us Debo, which we've said for many years, Debo's not a receiver. He's a weapon. Right?
Yeah.
And BA, who is a good receiver, but not great.
he's borderline being great. We wanted to see more out of it again. Like another year
more
of it.
consistency and everything like that. But before the injury, his trajectory was definitely up. He was So to spend all that draft capital and get us Ricky Pearsall, who I think is going to be fine. I think he's going to be what we thought Trent Taylor was going to be before he got hurt in his back issue and being a small receiver in the NFL, took a toll. And his back issue caused him problems. So I think Trent Taylor, Ricky Pearsall is going to be a fine possession receiver. I think he'll give us 50, 60, 70 balls a year. I think he's going to be a fine player. I don't think you're going to say Ricky Pearsall is a bust of a pick. I think you'll have people who bitch that he was taken in the first round.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ricky Pearsall is going to be he's not going to be Dante Pettis. Okay. Like Ricky Pearsall.
He doesn't like cats that much, so.
So I guess maybe I'm just drafting. I think what has to happen. What's good, McNiner? Good to see you, baby. I got it.
What's up, McNiner? How you doing, brother?
Same old sorry ass man. So long.
So I think that Ricky Pearsall is going to be a fine receiver. I don't think he'll be great. I don't think he's going to be a number one receiver. I just feel like we spent all this capital already, and we still need, quote unquote, need a receiver after all this capital we spent.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's worked out more, or you would think we'd have a more stacked receiving core.
Right? Like you think we'd be the fucking Steelers, right? Who could piss out wide receivers, bruh. For years, the Steelers have been able to piss out wide receivers, bruh. Like, how do you let how do you let Juju go? Because you're the Steelers and you can simply just draft the next Juju because you've been doing it for 20 years, with Hines Ward and all that.
And yet they've all got mental issues coming out of Pittsburgh, though.
Sometimes at some point it stops being the players. Like you gotta kind of stop looking at the play, right?
There's something in the water that the receivers
something in the water, something like we've talked about it with the curse with Minnesota, right? How like this has to be a real thing, Jason. Like we're talking about different coaching regimes, different quarterbacks, different the
entire franchise is damn near flipped over twice.
Exactly. Like how many people are even exist in the Niner franchise? That were part of the franchise in 1992 when this curse started.
Yeah.
Maybe Jed, and maybe not even Jed wasn't a part of the organization. He was just involved. Like
he was just part of the family.
He is basically like, I'm coming here to hang out with Uncle Eddie. This is my kid nephew, and my family owns this. So I'm allowed to be here. Kind of, his family wasn't a part of the organization. So I don't know. I find a hard time believing closing my eyes and saying running out of the tunnel at Levi Stadium onto the field, Super Bowl 60, with Niners get the ball to start the game, and on the field outruns Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings to line up as our starting receivers in Super Bowl 60. I find a hard time wrapping my mind around that, Jason.
I think if we go to our running game is good enough and we get the defensive tackles and everything that we, can go young, I think we can do that. I think that could easily be our starting.
Okay, if you told me
by then BA's back.
Okay.
Where does he fit? You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's a possibility.
And he's had some time to equip and okay, fair enough. And also, my big factor is who do we trade for as well, right? Do we do a trade like circa Emmanuel Sanders? You pick up a veteran receiver mid. Like, okay, if you told me that it was, we kind of basically did what we did in 2019. You had who was our other starter? Who was our other starter besides Debo in before KB? So you tell me that basically we had KB, we had Dante, KB, and Debo were basically the young core of and then you got Emmanuel Sanders.
And Trent was still young back then too.
Trent too. Trent was still on the team. So if you told me the Niners did a kind of Emmanuel Sanders trade, got a Tyler Boyd type of receiver. I'm not saying him. I'm just saying that type of receiver.
Yeah, but we've got him already. His name is Demarcus Robinson. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, fine, yeah.
That kind of trade, I don't think.
Okay, Demarcus Robinson. Okay, I because of the suspension that we know is coming, he's going to be, which is another reason why the signing doesn't, unless they feel that it's going to become later in the year, like it's going to take a while to come up with the decision. Because my thing about it is you got Demarcus Robinson to kind of buffer the BA situation, right? That's how I looked at it. But if they're both, if BA's not ready for week 1, which I don't give a fuck what the Niners say. Niners told us, oh, he might be ready for week 1. Yeah, and you also told us that it was only Christian McCaffrey's fucking calf, nigga. All right. Did we lose Jason again, or did y'all lose me?
I'm here. You're here.
Okay, cool. You cut out for a second, bro.
Oh, okay.
What did you say? I didn't hear what you said. You cut out right before you said it.
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Anyway, no. Yeah, but if you told me that's what didn't make sense to me. So we're gonna be without BA for the first half of the year, right? Let's just be conservative. The first 2 months of the season, and Demarcus Robinson's gonna miss for.
They're only expecting him to miss 1 game.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Similar things with it like his have only gone for 1 game. So that's
okay, cool.
That's why they're.
I'm not sure. Okay, that totally makes me feel better then, because I was like, if this nigga misses half the year, what's the point?
Yeah, there's a game, 2 at the absolute most, but they've seen other guys with similar stuff. They only miss a game.
Fucking McNair chugged the whole team hotel.
Hey, what did I say last year when we traveled up there? We need to start taking our own water.
Something, bro. Like this is legit, especially like how fluky last year. Like it wasn't fluky. Like why did the Niners lose last year? Special teams issues, defense kind of collapsed, Except for basically Fred Warner saved that game from being a blowout because he hadn't fractured his ankle. So he was
playing with 2 seconds left to go in the first half.
Yeah, he was. Fred Warner was still playing at defensive player of the year status because he hadn't fractured his ankle yet. So basically, Fred Warner is the only reason that ball game wasn't even a blowout. And Sam Darnold be Sam Darnold. Papa J just let the Lord.
I think there's supposed to be an emoji there somewhere that just hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. So yeah, okay. Demarcus Robinson makes a bigger sizable impact. And I don't know, maybe Kyle stops trying to make Brock throw the ball 40 times a game like he did last year. Like
he wants to high five the Lord of the Lords.
Oh. Let's just pray to the Lord of the Lords. Amen. Amen. Jesus is king. But no, so and let's hope that Kyle, for some reason, doesn't have a fourth quarter where we throw the ball 15 times in a row.
Right.
That might help.
Remember, there's a running game here that probably got us there. Probably a top 5 running game that gets us there.
Okay, definitely. If you tell me the Niners are in another Super Bowl, I highly doubt we have lower than a top 5 rushing offense.
Yeah.
All right, brother. All right, Jason. I think that we're about here before the chat gets us total suicide watch. What the fuck are they talking about suicide watch? Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I'm not expecting BA before
week 8 is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, week 8, week 9. Tell me when the bye week is, especially if the bye week's later in the year. BA is definitely not coming back until after the bye week.
Yeah.
Like if it's week 9, like it was week 9 last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if our bye week's week 9 again, BA is coming back week 10.
But then again, we never know. You never know. Like we hear he's gonna be ready week 1. We've seen this type of an injury go off for a year and a half, 2 years before guys are fully recovered. So
yeah,
I'll wait
every
until
person I've ever heard talk about tearing their knee says the second year back, the second year after is when you recover. Because it's funny, Jason. When did Nick Bosa have his Defensive Player of the Year?
Yep.
2 years after his ACL tear. You know,
yep.
like
right, to me right now, anything we get out of, if we get a good season out of BA, it's just bonus. Yeah, because we just don't know.
Yeah, and see, this is the thing that worries me most about BA. It's fine, okay, cool. BA's back week 1. You know damn well he's not going to have a training camp, right? Like, can we all agree BA ain't having a training camp this year? We can all agree to that, right? How did that work out for him last year?
Yeah, I know.
How did that work out for him last year?
How did it work out for Trent?
How did it work out for Trent? How's it worked out for pretty much almost every player that's held out, during training camp? So there you go. Also, we now, Jason, I know you talked about it Friday. The 21st is our first organized teams activity. So now we have the official first deadline for Brock. You and I said there's absolutely zero reason that Brock Purdy, A, should not be on the field come April, and B, should not be on the field without a new contract. Because if he's not on the field with a new contract, then you're playing games. Either he needs to be on the field or he needs to be traded. Like this decision needs to happen.
He won't get traded, but I guess he can sign. I guess there's some sort of a waiver he can sign. But even then, it's just like, just get the shit done, guys.
What is it? Because you can't tell us, hey, we had to cut back on spending because of Brock, right? And bye-bye Dre, bye-bye Huff, bye-bye
everybody else.
Bye-bye everybody else. And then tell us you're trying to be cheap on Brock's contract. You know what I'm saying? You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's either one. Either we be cheap on Brock's contract and keep the core of this football team together, or you let the core dissipate, or not the core, but the outer core, I should say.
Yeah.
Because the heartbeat of the nucleus of the team is still here. But the outer core, the Dre Greenlaws, the Debos, you let those players walk. Okay, then there's no reason why you're telling us that you're prepared for Brock's contract. So then why is it not signed? Unless the only way I would give a Niners excuse is it takes 2 to tango, Jason. You can't force a player to sign a contract.
No, I mean, and Brock could just be, greedy as a motherfucker.
If Brock
is every right to be.
If Brock's doing a BA and just basically making shit more difficult than it has to be, he ends up signing the contract the day after the draft, and it ends up being the contract that was available when we started team activities. Okay, that's fully on Brock. The Niners are like, no, but let's be real. Brock ain't that type of dude.
Well, no, but then you've also got pretty much every other situation to where it's been the Niners that have been the issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We always wait too long. Every time.
We do. And it cost us with BA last year. Cost us Dre. Right.
Yeah, for sure it cost us Dre.
It cost us Dre. Waiting on BA's contract last year cost us Dre Greenlaw.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Dre just simply wanted to leave, and we weren't going to ever give him a number that was too good to refuse. We'll give you $25 million a year, kind of situation where it's just like, all right, bro, I got to stay and be number 2. Anyway, all right, bro. Final thoughts.
Like I said, I like this running back class. We're probably going to pick up at least one guy. More than likely, another unrestricted signing. And
there's going to be a couple.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I like the 2 guys that I put up, but there's 3 or 4 more that could easily be pretty good in this offense. And we haven't even talked about everybody that's on this team as far as running backs. We still got Patrick Taylor. We have no idea what we have with Israel Ibukanda.
No, Isaac Guerrero in year 2.
Exactly.
Look, it's no secret that I'm not the biggest Isaac Guerrero fan. I wasn't that impressed with. I see what people see. I saw this when he got outside and was able to get into space. He was making an impact. It's just it was a lot of 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 25 yards. You know, a lot of 2 yards in there though. So but yeah, as a second, third running back, I'm fine with that. So yeah, I like this running back room that we have. But no, the 49ers fan on Purdy before the season starts, I feel like telling those reporters no shit. I wish you were going to state the obvious. I do too as well. Dre wanted to be Batman too.
Yeah.
Basically. You know, some people are born to be Robin, some people want to be Batman, and Dre wanted to be Batman. Breaks my heart, but
yeah. His dad pushed him to go to Denver. Well, I think his dad is a Bronco fan too.
20 seconds should be signed. Yeah. Okay, so it was the 22nd, Kenny. I thought it was the 21st. The he's a straight line guy, Garendo. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get Garendo in space, he's gone. Nobody's catching him. It's getting him into that space that to me seemed to. But look, I'm willing to improve. I am willing to admit that, you know what, at what is he, 22 years old? He can get better, Jason, at 22 years old. You know?
And you got to remember, Garendo's still learning how to be a running back. He's not a running back.
I'm not willing to say, hey, you got to be pretty good to beat out fucking Isaac Garendo. You know, I'm not willing to take it to Cassius Marsh level yet. That was sarcasm, y'all. But I'm not ready to take it to Cassius Marsh level. But yeah, no, you could be right. Okay, cool. Regardless, I think we're on the same page, Kenny. Brock Purdy walks on the field the first practice of OTAs as the highest paid player in San Francisco 49ers history. There is zero excuse for that not to happen.
Yeah.
We're all on the same page. All right, brother. We'll catch you Friday, bro.
Indeed. Bye for time to the lover. One love, faithful.
Yee. All right, y'all. It's gonna take me a little bit of time.
I gotta leave.
There we go. Okay. It's gonna take me a little bit of time to get this podcast out. I'm gonna get it out as a podcast tomorrow. Y'all gotta be a little bit patient with your boy. But appreciate everybody listening. Sorry, the camera was kind of dark and everything. I know everybody wants to see my handsome face. But we will be back in our normal studio next week. Appreciate y'all. We'll be in our normal studio Friday. Appreciate y'all tuning in this week. I'll be better prepared. And we're going to be talking linebackers, which is a position, let's be real, that Niners kind of need. So I'm excited to get into some linebackers with y'all. All right. See y'all Friday. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners.